Lights, camera, action. We'll leave off the lights and the camera. We're going to talk about what I consider to be kind of a unique feature in Adobe Photoshop. It's an action. Actions allow me to do something that I like. It allows me to take steps that I've applied to one image and apply them to something else in a very meticulous way. So actions are for things that you do over and over again. Think of how you work through this program. Undoubtedly, there are going to be times when you want to do the same things to something else, and actions is exactly the place you want to be. They have really matured over the years. I can remember, years ago, where you couldn't even use a blending mode with an action, and now you can. Go into your exercise files for this chapter. Open up the first one here, 161008. These were taken in Egypt a long time ago, actually. Probably over 30 years ago. They were slides that were digitized. I have thousands of these images that all have the same problem. Part of it was caused by the age of the image. Part of it was caused by the system that did the scanning. I can fix them all with the same procedure. So let's start here. Making an action is actually pretty easy. If you don't have the Actions panel over here, all you got to do is go up to the word Window and down to the word Actions right there. And you got them open. Now over here, default actions will be there. If you have never used these before, those are going to be there. We're going to start from scratch here. Let's close out that set. Let's create our own. Now this button right down here allows me to make a set. We'll call this one Egypt. Why not? Now I know you probably know this, but I can click the OK button. But since it's blue and glowing like that, I can actually press the Enter key and get the same result. Either way, we now have a set. We don't have an action. That's a set for our actions. So we're going to start the tape recorder by clicking this button right here, New Action. With the new action, let's call it Color Restoration 1. We may have more than one of these. We're going to put it into the set called Egypt, not in default, although you can change your mind and do that later. It's no big deal. Function key. If you want to, you could say on F1, perform color restoration 1, or on Shift F1, or on Command F1. It's up to you. And you can even give these a color if you want to. You could say the red ones are for color restoration. The blue ones are for converting to grayscale, whatever. We'll leave that alone too. Click the record button to start the tape recorder. Now the analogy of a tape recorder is nice when you think about it. However, that's not really exactly what's happening. It's going to record what I do, but not the interim time it took me to do it, like right now. It's not recording this time. It's waiting for me to do something. That's kind of common sense, I guess. Let's start by fixing the image. Now I'm going to use curves. We're going to talk about curves in the next lesson. This is just about making an action. So I'm going to collapse this area out. This button right here, if you want to use it in the adjustments, will open up the curves properties so we can start working. Now what I want to do here is I need to look for an area in this image where I can color correct the image quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my zoom tool. Look at those happy people. Let's come down to about here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick up this middle eyedropper right there. And again, we'll talk more about this in the next chapter. I'm looking for an area, if there is one, and there might not be, that is a neutral color, but now it's probably got a cast to it based on all this stuff going on. So I'll go ahead and click the middle gray eyedropper and let's click in the dirt. I'm thinking that's probably a good place for a neutral color, dirt. And actually that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and take that back down again in size so we can see what's going on. My sky's blue. If I turn this on and off, it wasn't before. We've got green in these areas here. I think that's actually not too bad, except it's a little bit darker than what I want. So I'm going to put a point right here in curves. And I'm going to get it a little bit brighter, something like that. And remember, we'll talk about curves in the next chapter. So I like what I see. I've got color in what I think is right in the tourists. I've got green in these areas in here, these kind of grasses. And I've got a blue sky, and I think that's okay, and I like it, and I want to apply it to a whole bunch more images. So let's go ahead and reopen up Actions and turn it off. We're done. That's all we wanted to do. All right, so we've got all of that done. Now, there are two things in this action that I really don't need. I showed you what it looked like by turning that layer on and off, a show hide. this button right here and this one right here. You can do two things here. You can say, well, I'm not sure I need those, but I don't want to take the chance of deleting them because I might, but I want to try this action without activating them. And you can click here and actually turn them off. Or you can say, nah, I don't need that. I'm going to select it here and click the delete button down here, the trash can. And it says, do you want to delete this selection? You can click OK. And we'll do the same thing for this one right here. Actions themselves are they're very mathematical. And if you are a programmer, you can actually program your own actions. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is be able to use Photoshop the way I'm comfortable doing it and have it record what I'm doing so I can use it again as an action. So what we have done in this lesson is create our own action in a set called Egypt. On to the next.